Hi, Eid. Thank you so much for joining with us in our PurnaFinX podcast.
Mm.
So, to begin with, I'm very excited to know your introduction. Please introduce yourself to our audience at PurnaFinX. Yeah.
Hello, Perna, and thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure participating in your platform and in this podcast. Perna, briefly about myself. I am a tax lawyer by trade, though I work business consulting, and my father is Jordanian, my mother is Lebanese. I am 30 years old. I am based out of Madrid, and I work at ISDE, and it's Instituto Superior de Derecho y Economía, and we are a premier law school and business school specialized in sports. So this is in a few lines who I am, Parna.
Yes, Eid, it's very interesting to know your introduction. Like, you have an exposure of different places across the globe, right? So,
Correct,
basically,
correct, Parna.
Yeah, so
Yes.
basically, how does that feel to be there in different parts of the world? For instance, the place where I come from,
Yeah.
majority of the people don't even go out from their state itself.
Mm.
For example, the state in the
Okay.
sense it would be around, for example, 300 kilometers radius. So you were there in different parts of the world. You just moved from one continent to another, like just you went from
Absolutely.
one city to another city. How does it
Mhm.
actually feel?
Well, Perna, the thing is that when we only think into one culture, I feel like it's like a horse having the hides on the sides of the eyes, so you are only able to see in your own lane. And basically, traveling abroad, learning new languages, learning about new cultures, it truly gives you a multilateral vision of things, and it allows you easier to put yourself in the place of the people you are talking with. And if I can give one simple piece of business advice, knowing the language or the culture of the person you are talking to is the easiest way to break the ice. So if you have one thing to take away from this whole episode, this is the one.
So, Eid, coming back to your
Mhm.
education in the law,
Very
that
good.
you did law in Paris, right? And
I
then
did.
you ended up closing deals, closing trade
Mhm.
agreements with Brazil to the Arab countries, right? What is the driving force behind that each move for you? Eid, like you went from
Mhm.
the sports lawyer to being there in the diplomacy thing. How
Yeah.
does it feel to be there, and what actually
Mhm.
opened the doors for you?
Very good. Thank you, Purna. So actually, um, I followed the tendencies of the countries that I was in at the time. So in France, I was still studying, so I was not so much active in the professional aspect. But in Brazil, yes. This is where I finished my university as well. So it was not only France. I did the Bar Association exam in Brazil. I started working with embassies during my time there. And Brazil in itself is a very strategic country for Arab world because it's how can I say scratches two itches. One is for food security because the Arab world is still very much dependent on importing their foodstuff from abroad,
Okay.
and the second one is water scarcity. And Brazil also has some of the biggest water reserves worldwide. They
Mhm.
have 21% of clean drinking water reserves. And if today we are fighting for petrol, gold, and currency,
Yeah.
in 2050 we'll probably be fighting for water. So this is also something to keep
Yeah.
in mind.
Yes, Eid. So when we try to have a, a discussion for bringing
Yeah.
someone as a client to our company, for example, that
Mhm.
itself is a very big task, right?
Yes.
But when dealing with other countries, other country
Mhm.
officials, what are the challenges that you faced when you were at the very beginning
Mhm.
stage of this career, Eid? Like, I want to know that.
Yeah.
Do you remember any situation where you felt like, oh my God, this is a tough situation? But of
Mhm.
course, you handled that well in the later days, and you did that very well. But as a
Mhm.
beginning guy, as a beginning
Yeah.
person in any industry, we feel those
Uh-huh.
things, right? What should one
Yeah.
learn while dealing
Mhm.
with those big officials who are
Mhm.
representing the country actually? Yeah.
Perfect, Purna. So, Purna, first of all, there's many layers to this question.
Yeah.
You need to think about different types of authorities. So you might have them in Latin America, in Europe, and in Arab countries, and you would probably need to adapt your approach to each one of them. So I want to talk about a general approach, and then we can refine if you want a little bit more into each the specificities of the countries that we are trying to cover. So, as a general rule, you need to consider that politicians are busy people. So they make appearances in media, they are on TV, they have many interviews, they have voters to attend to, they have their own office to attend. So they are not rich in time, let's say. So you need to be quick. This is number one. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, you need to categorize the responsibilities that the authorities have. So usually when you are talking to a minister or to a director or some high placed individual, uh, usually these people are the front end of the operation. So if you truly want to get things done, where you need to focus is the back end. And you are targeting the wrong person, usually speaking. There is three main people you want to be talking with when approaching a ministry, for example. Rather than the minister, you should be approaching number one, their secretary. This is the easiest way to get your foot through the door.
Okay.
Number two is their chief of staff, because he is the one that is running the operations behind closed doors. And number three, it is the Secretary General, because the Secretary General is usually the technical brain, if I can say so, behind the operation. So the Secretary General is there to support the minister, to help him take better decisions, decisions that are founded on data and statistics, studies of impact, and other things. So if there's somebody that truly knows how to fix your issue, it is the Secretary General also. The
Okay.
minister, he will be present for formalities, for signing, for appearing, for making a speech, for being there, for that sort of situation. Now, when you take this approach, you do not want to reach directly to the top authority. You need to follow this hierarchy of authority until you reach the place that you want to be at. So, start small is the
Yeah.
first type of advice I like to give.
Yeah.
Know who to target. And the third line of advice also, we need to stop thinking that, okay, I am paying the taxes and the salary of this person. This person works for me. This authority, they are at my orders. They are at my service. This is an antiquated way of seeing things.
Yeah.
So if I'm negotiating with anybody, I'm trying always to put myself in their shoes as well. So
Yeah.
I need to learn about their agenda. I need to know about the ministry's agenda. I need to know about the government's agenda and make my proposition attractive to them, fitting it into their own agenda.
Yeah.
So it's not only what I want to extract from you, it is
Yeah.
also knowing what I have to offer to them
Good.
and to make
Great.
this bigger chance of landing this proposal. So these are the three pieces of advice that I can give on
Yeah.
how to properly
Yeah.
interact with authorities. So now a little touch on authorities between Latin America, between Spain, and between the Arab world. So in Latin America, it is very important that you consider time to be flexible. So if an authority is late to your appointment, this is not insulting. This is not something that they are doing on purpose. They might have some issues doing all the responsibilities that they have ongoing. So patience is key when dealing with the South American authorities.
Yeah.
Other than that, we might think that Latinos are easily approachable, they're nice people, we can talk to them easily, and everything else. you still need to be formal with them. So
Yeah.
using proper wording, writing proper cover letters, not calling them out in a familiar way. So this is all very important when talking to the Latin American authorities. Now, regarding European authorities, what you need to keep in mind the most is that time is money for them. So get to it, get quick, make your ideas known. If you can make this an easy experience and masticate it as much as possible for them, this is where you'll have more success into reaching your objectives.
Right.
Now, when we're talking about Arab authorities focus on relationship. So you want to think about an introduction. You want to think about a previous rapport that you have with this person and this institution as well. And also, uh, you need to inspire trust and knowledge when talking to Arab authorities as well, because when we are talking to these authorities, we want to know your intentions as well. If I trust you, if you would be a good business
Yeah.
partner
I
before I
was
make any big decisions. So this is also something to keep in mind when talking to Arab authorities. Hmm?
Yes, I was also thinking about discussing the trust building in this process while dealing with
Very good.
such big professionals
Yeah.
profiles, you know,
Mhm.
because those are the guys who think a lot to trust one person, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Coming to the business consulting world that you are in,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You are there in the business consulting world since 10 years. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So I want to know that with your experience, which industry is
Very
having
good.
a lot of opportunity right now? Maybe
Mhm.
that can be solved because we keep hearing a lot on platforms like Twitter that there is a lot of wealth with the European people, but
Yes.
there is no big opportunities or technical things, technical stuff, something like Google or Microsoft, anything
Mhm.
we call
Mhm.
the top
Mhm.
things. So what you can say that if somebody wants to do something around European
Mhm.
continent, to
Yeah.
target European continent and do
Mhm.
something, what suggestion you would give, Eid, with your business
Mhm.
consulting experience? Yeah.
Very good, Purna. So, Purna, initially, you have to think that Europe is the old continent. So, know what that means, Purna. Everything has already been constructed to some extent in the European Union. It's not a huge building house. So, when you are talking about the old continent, I would shy away from the primary and secondary sectors, and I would more go into the tertiary or the post-industrial sectors that we have. And so, in itself, what does this mean, Purna? After COVID, I see a big focus on education, on health, on technology. I also see many opportunities in the financial market, in education, in tourism, in sports. So those are not all your traditional economic sectors. And we also need to focus on the technological aspect. So though we do not have the Googles, the Amazons, as you might have said, Purna, we still have many big technological companies in the European
Yeah,
Union. We
of
have,
course. Yeah.
uh
My intention when I was saying that is like just to bring the context that
mhm,
what are the other industries that we have opportunities to try, being from, I mean, coming from another part of the world. So that's it.
mhm.
I'm pretty sure that Europe is also
Yeah,
known for a lot of things. For example, tourism is
absolutely.
something everybody
Yeah,
loves to explore the
mhm.
Europe, right? Across the
Yeah,
globe. One thing is
yeah,
that yes, it go ahead, yeah.
yeah. So also, and unfortunately, we have to consider also cybersecurity. Defense is also on the growth. This is also some of the tendencies that I'm seeing for the market today. So if you go away a little bit from construction, real estate, infrastructure, agriculture production, and heavy industrial production, this is where I would focus my opportunities for the market today.
Yes, Eid. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. And I want to know that you were there in different parts of the world, right?
Yeah.
Where did you find uh, the lifestyle as a very great, attractive, and good for personally and professionally? Which culture you like the most?
Yes.
I
Mhm.
sorry if I'm putting you on spot on,
No, no,
but
please, Purna.
I just wanted to understand, like, is that I personally like the lifestyle of the European people, like the
Uh-huh.
way they treat, as I've also told you this in the past,
Yeah.
in the last call that we had, that I really
Mm-hmm.
love the way that the European people just treat us and they greet us,
Mm-hmm.
and the way they share and they care, and that's all very great things that we can learn from
True.
Europe. But with
Yeah.
your experience, I want to
Uh-huh.
understand which part of the world people are leading a very great lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Purna, I am a huge fan of the Mediterranean in general terms,
Mm-hmm.
and for many reasons. One, the climate.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the history and culture. Three, the food. And four, also, and last but not least, they're family oriented. So, this for me is a perfect storm, if we can say so, to have a successful and comfortable life developing business. Now, you might have to take into consideration that tax is high. So, if you have one thing working that's not in its favor, it is the tax aspect. But if you hedge yourself properly against that, you can find a workaround to this issue.
Right, right, Eid.
Hmm.
So coming back to the business consulting thing, Eid,
Yeah.
you know, I would like to go with one thing. Firstly,
Hmm.
sales. You know,
Yes.
you might have participated and have been in part of a very great discussions,
Hmm.
including the big professionals, big profiles like the diplomatic things and all,
Yeah.
country
Correct.
who are representing the countries.
Hmm.
Coming to something like, if I have a product and if I want to sell that to a person,
Hmm.
what is the first thing that I should learn uh, before taking that product to them? What are
Hmm.
the filters that you actually consider while pitching
Hmm.
something, some product, for example ABC, to that
Hmm.
particular person? What
Hmm.
is the approach that you basically do, Eid?
Yes, very good, Purna. So, initially, for me, the most important aspect of launching a new product is knowing what itch you're trying to scratch. So, I am offering a product that number one, I know, I believe in, I have tested, and I know is useful, number four, to the client. So,
Yeah.
when I have this security with myself, knowing that I'm actually adding value and giving purpose to my product that is being used by the client. This is how I know that this is a valid product, and this is how I know how there will be success. Now, the most important thing that you can do when launching a new product is doing the MVP. The MVP might sound something silly or something secondary, but it is maybe the most important aspect of your business. It is the proof of concept that your idea is one worthy, that it is well viewed and well received. And number three, people are actually willing to buy it. So this is for me the baseline of how to know that you have a good product. And number two, know your client, know your niche as well. So sometimes it's not you offering the wrong product to the person, you are selling to the wrong person. So you need to know how to direct your efforts as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes we want to rush development, we want to rush the launch as well. We are young, we are ambitious, we want to get things done fast, and we forget market research. We forget talking to the clients, we forget getting their feedback as well.
Yeah.
And also, once you interact sufficiently with your client base, you will know where to find the problems and issues that you need to work on and fix that. So a no can become a yes, and there's also an exercise of perseverance that you need to consider.
Yeah.
And until you put yourself out there, you won't truly know what is happening.
So yes, Eid. So
Mhm.
if I ask you that, suggest me one
Uh-huh.
communication skill that I should
Yeah.
definitely have while
Hmm.
trying to do business internationally, what skill
Yeah.
you would recommend me, Eid?
Well, Purna, this might surprise you, but talk slowly.
Okay. Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
talk slowly,
Yeah.
Purna? Uh, your voice is your only instrument to connect you with this world. Like you play the piano, like you might play the guitar. Your voice is what connects you to other people, to other businesses, to money, to everything at the end of the day. So sometimes we underestimate the importance of this tool. And the thing is, there's also psychological studies, studies about body language, and all this sort of stuff. And the studies show that if you are talking quick and if you are talking fast, it shows a certain level of anxiety through your speech.
Correct.
It's like I want to get this done over with as quickly as possible. I am in an uncomfortable situation. I want to get out of the situation as soon as I can. Now, when you take your time, you elaborate your ideas, you talk with confidence, you talk with cadence as well. So you are not eating your own words while you are speaking and everything else. Just by slowing down the volume of words per minute that you are saying, you will transmit more confidence to your recipient of the speech or the pitch or the proposal that you are trying to make. So, when you are facing yourself in difficult situations, take a breath, slow down, carry on with your idea till you reach the end. So, this is the best piece of advice I can give, though there are many
Super.
others as well.
Super, Eid. Really, I was just imagining what you are telling, and if that followed, we can obviously see great
Mhm.
difference, I believe. And this is also
Yeah,
kind of an eye opener personally for me. I should say that,
really, that's
right?
interesting. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that,
Okay.
Eid. Yeah. So Eid, you were
Mhm.
again coming back to the business consulting. You were doing that
Yes.
since like a
Mhm.
decade, and
Mhm.
you were, I hope you did a few consulting services for the people from different parts of the world, right?
Correct. Correct.
So, yeah. So, when pitching our consulting services to other parts of the other people who are in the different part of the world, we may
Mhm.
come across a couple of issues.
Yeah,
For example, they may not trust us just because they cannot see us physically.
it is
Yeah.
true, Purna.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
have you finished the question, Purna?
Yes, Eid, like how
All
to
right.
tackle this kind of issues and make sure that
Okay.
we get the things done good way. Yeah.
Amazing, Purna. Well, Purna, I would like to start saying that even though I am very much in favor of everything technology, AI, and all that good stuff, we are too modern and too digital for our own good. And funnily enough, I was having a conversation at lunch with my colleagues at work recently, and we were discussing this sort of approach, the pitching of students, clients, what have you, in order to get them to study with us or sell them on any other product or idea. And I believe that we pick up the phone too easily. We send too many emails. We do too many video conferences as well. And maybe I touched on that a little bit last time we talked, but I want you to give you a real life case situation. Okay? So imagine that you are an investor in Saudi Arabia. Okay? You have high liquidity, you are capable of doing international investment and all that good stuff. You will receive calls from Singapore, from Japan, from Korea, from Australia, from US, from Canada, from France, from UK. You are receiving calls and proposals from the four corners of the world. So how do I differentiate between a good and an excellent proposal? Well, Purna, it is the investor that had the idea to get to know their client, to understand their culture, to understand their need. We Arabs, for example, when talking to an Arab client, even though we want to modernize, we want to be more technological, we want to do all of that, we're still traditional in a sense. So it is still eye to eye. I want to shake your hand so we can seal the agreement. My word is my bond as well. So you might think this is antiquated, this is for the 50s or the 60s. This is very much still alive and well. So if you take the time to make a personal investment into knowing your client, into building this rapport, and for him to get to know you and make yourself memorable at the same time, this is where you can rise above the mass, if I can say so. You're not just one more. You are different because you did that. And this is the best piece of advice I can give, Purna.
Yes, Eid. I was thinking to ask you something about
Mhm.
you you studied law, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Specifying, getting specialized in the sports thing. Uh,
Correct.
how did that play a role
Hmm.
in shaping your professional career as a business development consultant, or something like who manage a particular continents, or maybe in the diplomacy thing as well? uh,
Hmm.
Understanding the laws of a country or specific
Yes.
industry, how
Hmm.
that actually helped you in this your career, Eid?
This is very important, Purna. Purna, so the thing is, when I was studying still in university, my project was my thesis, or how do you call it, was regarding the ease of doing business with each country around the world. So I was based out of Brazil. I did a study for five different countries to analyze their tax system, number one. And number two, the bureaucratic hurdles that you need to pass through in order to be able to open a company, launch a product, get a line of credit, settle dispute in courts, and export your product at the end. So this is the normal sort of activity that you would find from a company. And the study was done according to the World Bank database. Now, there might have been some issues regarding the accuracy of the data from the World Bank. I'm not talking about my studies at
Yeah.
the time, but there is a couple of hurdles that I did identify, and I saw some difference between the systems of those countries and basically these two main pillars, so taxes and bureaucracy. So, regarding taxes, for example, Brazil is a federal country. So you have three levels of tax at least. You have the federal tax, you have the state tax, and then you have the local tax. Okay? And so, for example, in Jordan or in Arab countries, we do not have a similar structure of taxation. Now, when going to bureaucracy, which is the second pillar that I have told you about. Uh, so we saw a big difference between countries that still have systems that rely on pen and paper compared to digital economies or digital services that these governments have available. And the best countries that I was able to analyze were Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and Jordan as well. They are modernizing at a huge rate. They are digitalizing everything. So all the procedures that used to take time in the past, now you can get them done pretty instantaneously, Purna.
Yeah.
So other than getting credit or having transparency issues with the jurisdiction and everything else, so having low tax and digital services for registration are the main benefits of what I have seen. The European system is somewhat bureaucratical, so on this aspect they can improve. And Latin America honestly needs to leave its protectionist tendencies, reduce tax, and truly become a market economy in the authentical sense of the word.
So yes, Eid, I know that you are right now working for the ISDEs, and then you are
Mhm.
dealing with the uh, Arab countries, Africa, and then Asia as
Mhm.
well. So, what's
Correct.
the gap that you found, and what really excites
Mhm.
you being there in that? Yeah,
Very good, Purna. Well, the thing is, I have seen a huge changes in the Arab markets. Usually, we were too much focused on the petro-monarchy aspects, on the aspects of industrial production and this type of sectors. And in the last 10 years, at least, you have seen a huge shift towards sports and tourism. And you have seen the big investments being made in those sectors. And this is what prompted me to looking into ISDE, if I can say so. And I was able to connect the points together because I have a strong European background and I have a strong Arab background as well. So I saw that Gulf countries were building all those stadiums, those mega cities, the infrastructure, the highways, the everything. And then I looked at the profile of ISDE as well. And ISDE is the world leading authority in sports law because we have a co-ranked program with Columbia University. It's our master's in sports law. It's number one worldwide and it allows us to exactly feed into this market. And the second flagship program that we have is the Masters in Sports Law, sorry, Sports Management and Legal Skills, which also feeds into this narrative
yeah.
because we were considering economical development as a standalone object. When you have tourism, you have sports, you have infrastructure, you have logistics, you have technology. So it's a whole ecosystem that you're building to have interconnected economy and achieve true economical growth at the end of the day. So Spain is the most touristical country on earth. It has dethroned France in 2025. They have received 93 million tourists in Spain. And Spain, if I may say so, is one of the best sports economies and sports sectors worldwide also. So if Spain has one strong suit, it is an ecosystem creator. And Arab countries are trying to shift from their current model of production. They want to modernize themselves. They want to open
Yeah.
themselves to the economy. They want to receive a bigger influx of tourists, attract more sports investment. And this is where I was truly able to bridge what ISDE brings to the table and the market needs from the Arab countries.
Super, Eid. Really excited. And
Hmm.
Eid, I have one interesting question for you. Like,
Yeah.
if I ask you that, what is that one thing that you wish that
Uh-huh.
you have understood like 10 years
Uh-huh.
ago? What was that?
Mhm.
Uh, First, let's go with the business consulting. There's something related to
Yes.
business consulting. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, First of all, I underestimated the complexity of the operations I was getting myself into. Today, if you are not a technician, you are a dead fish in the water, unfortunately. Number
Yeah.
two is good things take time to happen. So I was too ambitious, I was too driven, I wanted things to happen here and now. It is not usually the case. You need to build relationship. You need to give time for the plan to be executed correctly also. And third of all is that even though you might not get success from the very get-go, persistence and continuing to go after this opportunity, so having discipline also at the end of the day, is the best way to have success. So I attribute those visions to being a youngster, to being underexperienced at the time, and being too much immediatist, if I can say so. So
Yeah.
give yourself time to grow that experience, invest in those relationships, invest in those projects, and this is where you'll finally see the
Yeah.
results.
Yes, yes, Sid. I really like that when you said invest in the
Mhm.
relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah, we underestimate that a lot, but we never know who brings us the greatest opportunity, who brings us or
it's
who
true.
opens us the great doors, right?
It's true,
Yeah.
Purna.
Yes, Eid. I
And
was, yeah,
mhm. So, Purna, the thing is, even in today's society, this is even more exacerbated. So, we suffer from TikTok brain. We have the short attention span as well. We are somewhat disconnected, even though we live in the most connected world possible today. So, other than what we are having as an interaction today, think about other methods and think about spending time with people also. The
sure,
most valuable gift you can give to somebody is time.
correct.
So think about that.
Sure, Eid. Thank you so much, Eid. I was very much
Mhm.
excited listening to your words throughout the
Thank
podcast.
you, Berna. Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that everybody, whoever is going to watch our podcast, will definitely have a
Hmm.
lot to take, to learn, and
Hmm.
all. Once again, thank you so much, Eid, for sharing your wisdom and the experience that you have actually gained from almost a
Hmm.
decade, since a decade. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. Yeah,
Well, Purna, it's a great pleasure participating on your platform here today. I hope that I was able to bring some useful insight to you and to your viewers. And I look forward to having other sessions
very
like this
soon.
with you in the future.
I'm
So thank you
excited for
so
that.
much, Purna, and we'll be in touch.
Sure, Eid. Thank you so much once again. Yeah.